Welcome to Psyber Conversations, the show where it's okay to agree to disagree. My name's Josh. Today I'm joined by Heather, Darren, Michael, and Bob. And today we're talking about Spider-Man Far From Home, which came out not long after Avengers Endgame. There's a lot to talk about with this one. This is a movie that I've thought about this a lot, and I rewatched it this week. And I enjoy this movie a lot, but there's still something kind of missing. So I want to see what everyone else thinks. Maybe I'm way off base, but it felt to me too little after Endgame. And I know it's supposed to just be Spider-Man. It's much more grounded than Endgame was, but this seems a little too far removed. But maybe that's just me.
It starts off with what we talked about in our Endgame episode, which is how do they handle the blip? Now everybody's come back. So this is after Endgame brought everybody back. And they did. They kind of poked fun at it a little bit. And
I didn't like the humorous tone considering how dark it was in Endgame. I understand like there's things that would happen that would be funny, like a cheerleading or a band, blipping back in the middle of a basketball game. That's right, funny. Right. But at the same time, I mean, I said it in last week. I wanted to see more of the life during those 5 years. I knew that this was going to be after that and everything's back to normal, more or less. But still, I kind of would like to have seen, I guess it would be stupid to expect a darker tone from a Spider-Man movie, I think, at least at that point.
For me, this was like, it was a teenage-centered kind of movie. This was a story about teenagers. And so, I think those deep thoughts maybe just aren't there because they're just absorbed with being a teenager. And so I think that some of the comedy did land okay for me. I think I agree though that it was such a plummet after such a big movie like Endgame, that it was just too dramatic of a shift, and you're all hyped up from the huge movie, and then this was kind of just a smaller movie, and it was a teenage story and not as serious, and there's some the references to what happened that was serious, but a lot of the movie was just more about what was going on with this group of kids.
I'm just going to put it out right here because Michael and I kind of watched some of it together, which was I kind of felt like this movie didn't quite know what it was going to be. Was it a teenage movie? But then it had like serious overtones. Then it was like, we'll be like Euro Trip, the movie Euro Trip, and we're going to do this thing. And there were some of those jokes in there. But I knew it came out after Endgame, but I totally forgot that everybody had come back. I just didn't make that connection. And they gloss over it so fast.
Yeah.
Just a couple references here and there. And then suddenly it's like, we're going to Europe. And I kind of thought,
it doesn't seem like the blip
plot
is really a big part of anybody's life at that point. It doesn't seem to be on people's minds even after it happened. That's the kind of the weird part is
the TV
it's
shows
not affecting everyone and everything at all times. For a while.
The TV shows dragged it out better because it showed other perspectives of what they went through.
But they hadn't come out yet, had they? I don't even think WandaVision had come out yet.
No, WandaVision didn't. I mean, I don't think any of the shows started till the beginning of 2021. And that was the issue. Maybe Spider-Man wasn't the right approach to be the epilogue of the Infinity Saga. Maybe he wasn't the right character because he's a lighthearted character. They needed maybe something darker, a character who's a little more serious than him.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
I did enjoy seeing Peter processing life past after Iron Man is gone.
But that's all
those
it
were
was.
some more serious and deeper moments. But the rest of the movie and the whole the actual story that was going on and the villain, it was all. It was a teenager movie.
Well, and it was. I mean,
not that that's bad. Not bad. It just
no, but it wasn't the right tone.
Movie.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And this whole setup of like right from the get-go, it was like this faux, like, who's going to be the next Iron Man? And they're like pumping it up that Peter Parker's going to become the next. And that was kind of like, to me, that was part of that, the serious direction. And it's like, it wasn't, like I said, the plot was fine. It was just choppy the way things were kind of put together. It was like serious, but then it wasn't. And it didn't come off like a teenage kid. It was like, this little section was more serious and like directed by somebody else. Then the next section was kind of like, okay, it was more It was more like that.
They had several like adult themes, like Peter coming to grips with the death of Tony Stark, who he saw as a mentor. But they, then the next scene, we got Brad, who was the tiny kid in the first movie, and now he's the tall, good-looking guy who's after MJ. And are we watching a high school movie, or are we watching a movie about Peter growing up? Is this a vacation movie, or is this I agree with what Bob said. It really doesn't know what it wants to do, and I think
that kind of is a teenage theme right there.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
I will
you're
say
all over the place.
I enjoy this movie a lot.
You got grown-up issues, but then you still have your teenage issues, and you're back and forth, and you're torn between them. So I don't know. I can appreciate that. I guess that little aspect.
I mean, that's always been the theme for either just Spider-Man or even Tom Holland's movies. They really try to balance out the, are you Spider-Man or are you Peter Parker? I mean, they even throw that line in there even in the new movie that just came out. Yep. So it's cool that, I guess, if you look at it that way, you can see the balance of Peter trying to be a normal teenager and live a normal life, but he also feels like he has this responsibility to take care of everyone and be Spider-Man. Because he doesn't want to let anyone down, and he doesn't want to discredit what Tony left behind for him.
Yeah, but that I also grapple with. Like, why would Tony, of all the people that Tony could have left anything to, I don't imagine it would have been Peter. I know Tony had a special spot for Peter and really liked Peter a lot, and Peter was his big motivation for doing the time heist that in Endgame. But it's still, for him to give the glasses with these weapons attached to them seems a bit much for Tony to give to Peter.
He trusted Peter's judgment over some of the other, people with their motivations.
You could tie that back to The Winter Soldier when Nick Fury gave, Steve the hard drive, and he's like, don't trust anyone. With Peter, he's the most innocent out of all of them because he's just a kid. Yeah. Everyone else, I mean, Tony doesn't know how corrupt everyone else could be, even if it's like Sam, where he becomes the next Captain America because he's such a good guy. I mean, it's the difference is an adult.
But I still don't see Tony giving these weapons of mass destruction to a kid, no matter how much he trusts him.
Probably because he thought that he wouldn't use them. You know what I mean? Like, coming back to Peter, I mean, you got Peter's relationship with Happy Hogan. But I thought the Happy Hogan Aunt May little thing,
that was weird.
That was a little weird.
I wasn't sure what the thing is with that, but
not that I blame him for liking Aunt May, but I don't really see why they even threw that in, like, just out of nowhere.
Yeah. I know. It was
I see Happy as he's the new dad.
That's the big thing.
Character.
It was out of nowhere. Yeah.
But he's the new father figure for Peter. I don't know. At least that's the impression that I got from it. Was he was just trying to be there for Peter as much as he could, and then it's two single adults meet each other, and
I thought Peter's relationship though with Aunt May was
always good.
Was good. Yeah, it's good. But I always thought it was interesting though. He just calls her May. He never says like. Or rarely does he say Aunt May. It's just May, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I think that's okay though. Because
I thought it was weird before, but I actually I have spent time with an aunt and uncle, and referring to them by with a title all the time.
There's a point at which it
was making them feel old, and she's like, you don't have to call me aunt all the time. So I don't know, maybe it's just a thing.
And you could be right. It could be right.
I think it all depends on the family. I never thought about it
before my own aunt said something. So
yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the family. My uncle, I still call him by his name with uncle, but the woman that he's married to, I don't call her my aunt. I don't call her aunt and her name. I just call her by her name. So
anyway,
sociology. All right.
That's no. I mean, that's
I mean, family dynamics are different in each family. I think that also they're trying to do something different with May to begin with, right from Homecoming.
Could that be what it is? Because she's younger and more hip. She's like, don't call me aunt. It makes me sound old.
I mean, it's possible.
Could be. I did think though that the one thing that's focusing on how they're going to go on this trip to Europe is I thought the Ned and Betty hooking up during the vacation thing, that's totally a teenage thing. I won't go into my backstory with that, but it happened when I was in high school on a choir trip. So, but no, that was the one thing.
Or
that
go
I
into the Capitol
was pretty funny
in 8th grade or whatever.
No, it was sophomore year when we went first President Bush's inauguration. So you would know who it is, so I'm not going to say who it is.
Okay. All of the Eurotrip teen drama stuff just reminded me of the trips we took in, was it 8th grade or we went to the capital?
8th grade.
To the 8th grade. Okay.
Yeah, that's
and that was like the first trip where we all went as a group to another part of the country kind of thing. And all of that drama, all of that teen drama just was like, I was like, oh, I know this vibe. I know this vibe. This bringing back memories.
Right. But that was what I was saying is that's why I feel like the movie gets a little, I don't want to say, I want to use the word disjointed, but that's not what I mean, is that you have that, and that's kind of where the movie's going, and then suddenly, it abruptly, I feel like it's abruptly anyway, it kind of abruptly pivots for a second, then it kind of gets back on track, but it's there's not a natural flow to that, I guess is what I'm referring to.
It bounces around
Heather,
a lot.
you mentioned it.
That's the way it feels.
Yeah, Heather, you mentioned earlier, is that's how kind of teen movies are. But I guess really that's what I'm referring to, is that it flows and then it kind of like you're like, what?
That's kind of that ADHD territory. I mean, like, with back and forth and back and forth.
So I have severe ADHD, and it still was disjointed for me. So I'm just saying that
that
it was still rough. It was still a watch.
The one thing that still bothers me, and I mentioned this in Homecoming, but it bothers me even more here, is Mr. Harrington. I like the actor. I appreciate the humor. At the same time, it's too much. It reminds me of like the old Nickelodeon shows. Like, you can't do that on television, where
too much bumbling.
Like all adults. Yeah, it takes them from it like shows adults as being completely neglectful and morons. Like, it's an us versus them thing, where us kids, we're cool, adults can't be cool, and we're going to show them as dumb as possible. And
it's every
and that's why
90s
like
breakfast cereal commercial.
But watch you can't do that on television.
That's a teenage
that's the whole show.
That really is. They think all the adults are dumb. I mean,
but we're not watching a kid show now. I mean, maybe they aimed this at kids a little bit more because it is Spider-Man, but still, they knew full well the audience that saw Endgame is going to be there, and there's a lot of adults. And
that's true.
Even when I was a kid, I knew not all adults are morons, and not all adults are neglectful towards kids. It always seemed like it was trying to start a war between kids and adults that didn't exist.
Michael, what did you say about Mr. Harrington? What movie was he from? The teacher?
He was from The Incredible Hulk, the 2008.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah, we talked about that in Homecoming. Yeah, he's the same character.
Yeah, he's the same character.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
he got bribed.
I didn't remember that. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Going back to the adults, making them stupid. I mean, doesn't it remind you of like an old 80s movie like The Breakfast Club, where the teenagers think they're better than the teacher and they're sneaking around, and I don't know. You know what I mean?
In
like,
the Breakfast Club, they're talking about one. Yeah, Ferris Bueller's a better example of that. In the Breakfast Club, they're dealing specifically with a disciplinarian. They're in trouble. They're in detention. Mr. Vernon is basically the principal, and they're in trouble. But with something like Ferris Bueller, technically he's also doing something that's wrong, and Mr. Rooney is just doing his job as the principal. But, we like Ferris, we don't like the principal. I understand that, but they aren't morons. Adults aren't morons. Well, Mr. Rooney's kind of a moron.
Well, and they don't show Harrington.
He was just a douche. That's all.
Yeah.
Let me point out something. They don't in this movie. They don't show Harrington being bumbling as much in the presence of the kids as they do completely separated from the kids in the presence of other adults. They show him being bumbling. So it's matching it to, we're showing it relative to the kids. It didn't hold up.
He's better in this movie than he was in Homecoming. That kind of thing bothers me because it's like you don't even know how to write adults now.
I think they knew exactly how to write adults. They just thought that was the appropriate way to write it for this type of thing. And, they needed some comic relief.
It's just Marvel humor. That's all they do.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was enough humor elsewhere. They didn't have to over-exaggerate it as much as they did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hashtag humor armor.
Humor armor and plot armor.
I like the humor regarding, what's it called? The Night Monkey. I like that more. It was
No,
stupid.
that was
but at
so
least
stupid.
It was stupid, but at least that wasn't like artificial, like making Harrington just a ridiculous idea of a teacher. Like
It was
no
just a way
teacher
to
is
get
like
a
that.
third suit change out of the situation so that Hasbro could make another toy.
So let's talk about, because I didn't have a Mr. Harrington section in this podcast, but it's a good thing we went off on that for like 20 minutes.
Well,
Anyway,
we're talking about a movie that has him.
Yeah, I know, but the movie's not all about him. We've talked more about him than other people. Now let's talk about Mysterio, because Jake Gyllenhaal, which I love Jake Gyllenhaal, this whole Quentin Beck thing, his whole fake out thing, you know, how he gives his monologue there. I mean, Michael and I were watching it, and it's like, this is literally, I think, the third time I've watched Far From Home. And I was like, wow, this, you know, I'm just going to say it right here, and I'll reiterate it again. It really wasn't that great of a movie. And I thought what they did with Mysterio was, it just turned out to be just a gigantic pile of disgruntled Stark employees. You know what I mean? Just like being all pissy.
But there were some things about that I liked.
I you know what? I would love to hear that, because I'm going to agree to disagree. But
no, I'm not saying like I agree with you. A lot of it is really like, and I said this before, I like this movie in a lot of ways, but it also doesn't hit as like, it doesn't knock it out of the park for me. It's definitely my least favorite Spider-Man movie. But part of that, like, I don't want to say that and say I don't like it. I like it a lot, but we're talking about compared to the other Spider-Man movies, that's a high bar to clear. But some of the things that were talked about, I liked. And one of the things that I really enjoyed was how they drew back from the previous movies, showing that Barf was Quentin Beck's idea. I thought that was a good callback.
Hologram program,
I really loved that they brought back the Doctor from Iron Man 1. I thought that was great, because I had actually thought about that. Before this movie came out, at one point I was watching Iron Man or rewatching it, and I got to that scene, the scene that they actually show in this movie where Obadiah Stane is yelling at the Doctor, Tony Stark built this in a cave from spare parts. And I was thinking, like, what happened to this guy after Obadiah Stane died? I wanted to know.
He blames Tony Stark for saving himself when Obadiah Stane was the one who yelled at him. I was like, what?
Yeah, but I wanted to know what happened. So this guy, like him showing up, I was really excited at the fact that, okay, now we're seeing people that we've seen before who have been gone for so long. And I enjoyed that. I kind of wish that they had done it with more of the people, but the rest of the people in that group were just created for this movie. We didn't see them before. But I like that idea, even though Mysterio, as a motivation for his whole thing, if it's all just revenge against Tony Stark, is kind of, it's been done. And the plan itself is kind of half-assed, and some of it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. And I can't believe that Nick Fury, we were saying that yesterday. It's like, how did, I get that they're like, well, we're hiding everything from Nick Fury. I'm like, how do these guys have that level when like other people who have higher levels of tech and smarts can't hide from like...
We have to remember, Nick Fury in this is a Skrull, you know? Yeah. He pops up at the end.
One of the notes I did make is that we see at one point late in the movie, Peter, jumps into the middle of a hologram and sees it from the inside. And of course, he doesn't see the hologram. He just sees all of those drones that are shooting images outside. Now, I want to know how it is that no one on the planet before that was ever on the inside. Like, if those drones make this big monster over someone, wouldn't they just be seeing those drones on the inside?
They're probably ducking and covering and closing their eyes.
But the other thing that didn't make sense is, why does he need the EDITH glasses? He was doing just fine.
I know where the
glasses. That's the part I didn't understand.
Yeah, like he had the drones and they were already destroying stuff. I thought maybe because the EDITH glasses gave him the firepower, so I don't know, maybe the drones were actually crashing into things before that. And now they had weapons, so they didn't have to crash into them. But we don't see that. They don't tell us. So why did he need the glasses in the first place? And I still don't know.
Was EDITH just for the drone system? Because, we already had Jarvis and we had Friday.
I mean, it made it seem like she was controlling all of Tony Stark's.
Yeah, it stood for something. I forget what it stood for.
Even Dead, I'm the hero.
Oh, yeah, Even Dead, I'm the hero. Right.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I thought that was funny and very Tony Stark.
Yes.
But they don't really explain what the glasses are for. It does seem like EDITH controls all of the drones and possibly all of Stark tech. But if Mysterio already had control of the drones, then why did he need the glasses?
Yeah, I didn't see a noticeable increase in his capabilities after him acquiring the glasses. That's
I think we're not asking the right question. The right question should be, why doesn't Mysterio actually have powers? What is with Marvel just totally ignoring everyone having powers and giving them tech as their ability? That's where I was most frustrated. I was like, really? We went with another storyline where it's just some guy in a suit behind a screen. Like, that's really
that's why he didn't win.
Scooby-Doo.
I've said this before, though.
Reason for everything.
I'm not a big comic book reader. I know some history of the comic books, and I can look it up. But I don't remember Quentin Beck usually having powers. I think the most traditional story of him is that he was a special effects guy, and he knows how to do that. He was like in movies or something.
Yeah.
So I don't think he ever had powers, even in the comics. But I'm looking it up just in case, so no one get angry at me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
Well, I mean, when I was watching it the other day, I was comparing Mysterio to Syndrome from Incredibles, where he's just constantly using tech.
Yeah, he is Syndrome.
Wants to be seen.
I even wrote that down.
He's trying to make an image for himself because he's throwing a fit, and I just thought that was the same thing as Syndrome. He was just throwing a fit, trying to be Mr. Popular. I don't know. And the funny thing is I do think of Mysterio as this bratty little guy who's so ungrateful, and he throws a fit when nothing goes his way. But so at least Jake Gyllenhaal played that very well. It just, I don't know. The tech just really bothered me. I really didn't like it. I want to start seeing people with superpowers more. But, even if that's not original to the comic book for Mysterio, it would be cool.
In the MCU, we call that.
I agree that it would be good to see more villains that have powers, but Mysterio, it didn't bother me that much because I don't think Mysterio ever had powers. But you are right.
I just wish he had powers because I always saw Mysterio as like a big bad for Spider-Man. While everyone else used tech, Mysterio was the one who came off with actual powers that Spider-Man had to figure out how to fight against. That was, in Venom too, it was an alien that gave him gifts of his own. So I just...
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
I would love to see a Venom.
And you're
really
right.
Hope that they bring Venom.
Yeah, in the comic book, he'd had no superpowers in the comic book, but he did use like chemistry and stuff like that. So he would use, I guess the character I would think about a little bit is it kind of like the Scarecrow from from one of Batman's villains, right? He would use like fear toxins and stuff like that. And Mysterio would use that type of stuff. He'd use the illusions and that type of thing. It was a little bit less tech and more science-y. With like
it was in line with the character from the comics, so that's why it doesn't bother me so much. But I would like to see them use more enhanced individuals as villains.
Well, then let's say that too. I mean, you look back at Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Green Goblin, and even Otto Octavius were so like they were scientists, and they really proved that in their films. And then if Quentin Beck's supposed to be kind of a scientist, he wasn't really. He was just a guy who knew how to make technology. I don't know. Like it wasn't.
Well, there's
no. Yeah, but I get
Green Goblin.
Chemistry,
but Green Goblin had powers. Just nothing spectacular. He was very strong and very fast, and very
enhanced.
Agile. Well, yeah, because he took that, but it was still tech. He came up with this potion that did it. Kind of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde-ed him. Doc Ock, it was all tech.
So speaking of the tech, we did have these scenes of like Tony going through kind of that nightmare scene, or not Tony, sorry, Peter going through. See, that's the thing. Tony, Peter, Tony, who's taking over the legacy. That's what this movie did to me. Anyway, Peter, is having his nightmare scene kind of with Beck questioning him, making him question all his stuff and all the different fight scenes.
I did like that.
That was good Spider-Man scene with the Mysterio illusion.
Yeah,
that was.
I liked all of the illusions that Mysterio did because that's what he's known for, and I thought he did that really well.
I struggled with the notion of everything's a hologram but still has some sort of physical impact on the world. Like that
I was the same way.
My Ant-Man physics level
Don't get me started.
No, it wasn't quite as severe as Josh and Ant-Man, but yeah, I mean, that was more of a stretch to suspend, realism when it comes to holograms. Holograms don't have, you can't hit a hologram. And so,
but ironically, this made sense to me because I didn't think that they were hitting holograms. They were hitting the drones. The drones were hidden behind the holograms, but the drones were still there. I think that's what people were hitting.
There was wind.
What wind?
Holograms don't make wind.
Yeah, but they showed that
drones
the
make
drones
holograms.
The drones could create sonic or atmospheric bursts.
And after he had the EDITH glasses, they could fire bullets too. So that's where the destruction came from. The drones were firing on
something like the Spider-Man scene that you're talking about, where he's just, illusion to illusion to illusion. Again, I found it visually interesting, but telling me this is a hologram that's doing this was a stretch for me.
Yeah, and I had to ask Michael. I had to ask Michael because I was like, okay, how do I get that they can impact the environment. Like, to me, it was like, well, what can they do and what can't they do? Like, is he with wind, right? Is he cloaking like gigantic Hollywood studio level size fans that are blowing everywhere? I'm like, I get the drones can go underwater and that's what it causes it, but it's like, I had a little difficulty understanding how the destruction was actually caused. And yeah, you're right with the glasses. I know I asked that question earlier. I guess the glasses were what unlocked the
volume,
the ability for them to shoot. But still,
but they were causing damage before he had the glasses. So I don't know how that was caused. And I'm guessing that the drones were ramming into things.
Well, if they were ramming into it, wouldn't there have been some evidence left? From
even more evidence. He was worried about one little piece.
Well, we don't know how strong those drones are. Again, that's the thing.
Doctor Strange having these kind of strange visuals, I can accept that because it's magic.
Yeah, it's
Josh,
magic.
you've used that. That's magic. This, they said it's holograms, and then it was looking like magic, and so that kind of.
No, I get it.
Was a disconnect for me. Yeah,
I get it, but this one I felt like I could understand because to me, I just figured. Okay, the drones are physically there. They can.
Well, you have to
it's like
remember
the holodeck in Star Trek.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. You have to remember that the tech in the Marvel universe is always
you can interact
30, 40 years beyond what we're capable of doing. So
they actually explained it in Star Trek that in the holodeck
but Marvel
there was
is
force
not
fields.
Set 30 or 300 years.
No,
in the
I know,
future.
but the tech,
yes, I know,
tech is
present day.
The tech is.
Yeah, but the drones were there, and the drones, I don't know how solid they are because they seem kind of fragile when Spider-Man handles them, but we don't know how they are compared to bricks.
Yeah, or when MJ, hits it with the
Happy Hogan had a hover jet that could land in a poppy field and not damage a single one of those suckers. So that's sci-fi as far as I'm concerned.
It was tulips. It was tulips.
Tulips, excuse me. Yes,
that's
tulips. Right. Or Netherlands.
Yes,
let's focus on what's important here.
Let's focus on the type of flower in the field.
Actually, he was damaging all those flowers. I don't know if you saw all the petals falling off. That was actually, I was sitting there watching and thinking about how much economic damage they're doing to this flower farmer. Just by hovering.
Okay, but okay. You were rolling your eyes at me last
Flower
week.
farmers in the corner going,
Heather has really owned that today. Let me tell you what. Wow.
I'm just happy that it's not me for a change. I just
rolled my eyes about it. Josh was ready to fight somebody. So there's a difference.
Okay, so let me get it back on track here. So the whole Peter and MJ, right? So this is where Peter and MJ finally, whatever you want to call it, profess their love. MJ figures it out as Spider-Man, although she was only 67% sure that he was Spider-Man.
She actually
terrible.
said that. She was like, I'm only 67%. We were like,
yeah, I know.
I thought she just said 60%.
No, she goes, I was like,
my daughter too.
Okay.
My daughter too. I watched it with my daughter because I was on vacation, and as soon as she said 67%, my daughter was like, "My God!"
It predates all of that, which is even
2019.
funnier.
We wouldn't even think of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
at least she didn't say. At least she didn't say I was 7% sure.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, but I mean, I don't know how did you guys feel about how they finally put Peter and MJ together compared to what they had done before.
I like
that. Oh, well, I was just going to say, I really like that because we had Ned's weird relationship with Betty and then Happy's relationship with Aunt May. I don't know what to call it. There's situations.
It was a fling.
It was a fling.
There's situationship. We'll go with that.
There's situation. Yeah, it was a little fling. I liked it because that's how you show a relationship starting in a movie, I would say, because it's keeping the audience intrigued of like, oh my God, when's he going to say it? Or when she's going to say something? When are they going to kiss or hold hands? Or so it kind of kept you like, what's going to happen? Are they going to get together or not? So I liked it because it wasn't dragged out too long to be annoying, and it wasn't overdone with humor like Happy and Aunt May. You know what I mean? And Ned and Betty. I think it was just enough what they did.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the awkwardness of beginning relationships, especially among teenagers, I thought that was captured pretty well. There's an awkwardness there. Nobody knows really what to say or when to say it yet. Nobody knows as an adult either. But
I think she would have figured out he was Spider-Man anyway at some.
Yeah, I like that MJ is made to is shown to be very intelligent and not just some ditzy pretty girl. She's actually very capable, and she's always seemed like that even in Homecoming. She was a little more standoffish in Homecoming, but I think that also makes sense. But I love the fact that she found out, like she figured it out, and of course I don't even have to say about the chemistry between Tom Holland and Zendaya.
I wonder why.
Well, everyone knows like they have great chemistry. They just got married recently.
IRL.
I guess it was.
What? They did?
In real life. Yeah. And as of recording this, it wasn't that long ago. And it was like, I guess they eloped or they did it in secret. But that also makes sense because they didn't want to like make a big public thing of it until after the fact when they made a big public thing of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's their whole brand.
It's already done.
But still, I hadn't even at the time. I appreciated the chemistry that they had, and this is before I even saw the video that my daughter showed me. That apparently everyone else in the world has seen of the dance thing, the lip sync contest. That was it.
Oh,
the lip sync thing
was so good.
I hadn't seen it at the time.
So good.
The umbrella,
those are all really good. But
I don't think that's when they first met. But I don't think that's when they first met. But I think that's. But it's very clear.
I thought they were going out by then.
No, according to my daughter, and I mean, I defer to her. She knows more about this stuff than I do. I don't know. I don't keep up with celebrity relationships. But from what I'm told, most people say this is the moment she knew she was going to be with him. When you see her face when he's doing the lip sync thing as what was it, Rihanna? And he does some of those dance moves, and you just see her face, and she's just like she's got her mouth wide open, like she was just completely in shock.
Those are so good.
People were saying this is the moment when she knew she wanted to date him, but I don't know.
That was 2017, and they were not dating at the time. And I have to give props to Joseph Gordon-Levitt when he did Rhythm Nation by Janet Jackson on Lip Sync Battle. I thought that was outstanding. Anyway,
now who's sidetracking?
That was like my
never watched it. I've never watched the show. I just saw that one clip because my daughter
I never watched
insisted.
the show, but I saw that. I've seen that clip many times. It's a good one.
Coming back to how they're trying to set up Peter, and I really don't know why. So if one of you could answer it, is why like setting up Peter to like kind of be this Tony Stark, live up to the legacy, like he was going to take over the company. The first time I watched it, I was like, are they really going to set up Peter?
Wait, where was there an aspect where they alluded for him to take over the company? Where was that alluded to?
The whole movie.
It was like the whole beginning of the movie.
What?
Yeah, everyone was saying like he's going to be the next Iron Man, you know.
Live up to being Tony.
Superhero, but not owning, running the company.
Not Stark Industries.
Not Stark Industries, the Avengers.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
We'll
go with Iron Man and taking over as Tony Stark. That's different. You know, taking over Stark Industries. Is that what you believe?
That's what I assumed they meant, though. Like people kept saying, "Are you going to be the next Iron Man?" And I don't know why they would think that. But
see, that's the vibe I got, though, is you're right. They were just saying being the next Iron Man. But the vibe I was getting was like he was just taking over. I know Pepper was running it or wherever at the time, but still, he was like going to step into that role, whatever that was, not just be
I
Iron
saw
Man,
none of that. No, I saw no connection to Stark Industries.
I thought they were just looking for the
whatsoever.
next Avengers leader.
Yeah, I didn't think he had anything to do
Avengers,
with,
or even being
that
the
never
heavy
even occurred to
hitter
me.
on the Avengers. Maybe I can see that.
Yeah,
because he had been shown to be incredibly physically strong and resilient. So maybe being the next,
leader of the Avengers.
Well, no, not even de facto, not even leader. I'm saying,
not
just
even
as far as what Iron Man was capable of doing on the team, that Peter Parker and Spider-Man could step into that role. But running Stark Industries, I didn't catch any of that as a vibe.
That didn't even occur to me.
Him
That's the vibe I got,
like Tony Stark was pushed very heavily in the movie, where he's all doing the suit design on the plane and doing the holographic stuff, and Happy Hogan was looking at him all, oh, he's just a little Tony, look at him go, and I saw how they were pushing him to be like Tony Stark, but take over Stark Industries.
I like Led Zeppelin. Sorry.
Yeah.
That drove me crazy. That's the music, the music lover in me. I know, but oh man, I never have wanted to jump into a film and bitch slap someone as much as that, because
Michael and I think Michael, you and I, and when Christian was sitting there too, it was kind of like, okay, now the movie feels like it's starting. Was it at that point when he was like, we finally felt like the movie had found its footing when he was building the suit? What point was that? We all kind of mentioned it.
That was like the midpoint, if not, no, that was way further than the midpoint.
It was further past
near
the midpoint,
end,
but it seemed to be where everything kind of coalesced and started going forward.
Well, it was the big comeback,
right? And it was
it was when everything came
into
into focus. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
so,
it was just everything flowed smoothly from there on.
Yeah,
right. You didn't have that same disjointed, teen movie, superhero movie, teen movie, superhero movie. Now it was
Well, now there was a real threat, and Peter was aware of the threat. So now we focus on the bad guy. That's a narrative structure that we know about.
And he came into his confidence, which is like a lot of.
And he was finally Spider-Man. If you kind of think about it, that's when he was like the most Spider-Man in the movie. Was at the end.
I know he spends all this time to build a suit, and it comes out to be just a normal suit. Yeah.
What did you expect? A bunch of panels to flip out and energy weapons and shit?
Well, no, but I mean, he was wearing the Iron Spider armor, at the beginning.
It's still such a horrible design for the Iron Spider suit. It's just awful. But
why?
I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't really care for it. The whole nanotech bad CGI. I don't know. It's just weird for me. I like seeing a more realistic looking suit.
I agree. I do like seeing,
and I like the Iron Man's the Iron Spider suit in No Way Home too. But I also appreciated his suit at the very end of that movie when he's back to the just regular red and blue, and of course in Brand New Day that he's wearing. I do appreciate that suit too. But I think there's room for two suits.
The suit that he makes, at this point in the movie,
the upgraded suit, I call it.
The upgraded suit. Did any of his other suits have eyes that moved with his emotion?
Yeah.
They did?
Yeah.
Okay.
All of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. That weirded me out from that point, and maybe just because I was focused on that he just designed this suit, so I was looking
the thing I noticed
detail more.
The thing I noticed watching it again, this one, he does move his eyes a lot, or at least they moved the CGI for his eyes in this final battle a lot, especially when he's like, okay, let me use my spider sense. And then they close it and they go all black and you can't see the white. So I just thought that was something that we didn't see in the other three, even the new one, the other three
so
Spider-Man
there was something
movies.
subtly different about the eyes and the suit. I don't know. It was just something that caught my attention. Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't notice it. I know that like it was a huge deal when he showed up in Civil War, which was his first appearance as Tom Holland's first appearance as Spider-Man.
That one, yeah.
When the trailer, they showed the trailer and his eyes actually do move, and it was the first time that a Spider-Man movie did that because Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield's didn't do that. So people were talking about that, and it's just like the cartoons and the comics. So people were really happy. They were like, "Oh, his eyes move." But
why did he need an excuse?
I don't know why it didn't
his
register
eyes
prior
moved?
to that.
Yeah, like why couldn't Spider-Man's eyes just move like Deadpool's? They just moved. I think that would have been fine, just watching them move around with the motion.
Yeah.
I mean, do we need the whole his senses are all thrown off and he needs different type goggles to help? I don't know. I just thought that was, I don't know. It wasn't needed.
It was not, and that's the one thing, speaking of, by the way, is the whole Peter Tingle thing. And, it's like his Peter Tingle. But the thing about it is I really think that the one thing. Yeah, stop calling him. Do you feel your tingle, Peter? But I think the one thing they nerfed, I felt like with Tom Holland's Spider-Man overall, that they sort of nerfed was his spider sense. They don't, not that they need to draw attention to it, but
isn't that what saved him in the end? It
seems
of the
like
movie?
Yeah. Like we talked about it a little bit in Homecoming. Like
we did.
We assumed.
But now we're on the second full run of him being, a second outing of.
But he's
Tom
still
Holland's
learning
Spider-Man.
it.
Yeah, but I mean, that's
Yeah,
to me, that's
by the end of this movie,
by the end, he's relying on it.
It was essential, yeah.
Yeah, but then it goes away after that. Like, where was it? I didn't see it in Brand New Day unless I missed something. Or like after that, or No Way Home.
No Way Home, he uses it it's how he susses out that Norman has turned back into the Green Goblin.
I guess. I mean, it's
like
it
wasn't
one of his great lines.
Gone.
That's a neat trick. That sense of yours.
Wait, wasn't his spider sense the entire reason he was immune to what happened in Brand New Day? Like his spider.
We can't talk about that because Heather
hasn't
seen it.
I know. That's why I said the thing in Brand New Day. I didn't say what it was. I'm just saying it seemed like his spider sense played a big part in
the thing that
in
the
his
thing did, and the thing
movie.
with the thing. Okay,
the thing with that thing, with that movie with that thing and the thing.
I'm sorry, you guys can't talk about it. It's all my fault.
Were you talking about the thing next to the thing? No, that was not the thing.
Well, like in the new movie
I'm
when
just saying,
Ned
his
dies,
spider sense is.
Oh, sorry, Heather.
Yeah, really. His spider sense is, you're right, is either a key component to why he's different, or in one movie or another, or it's almost nerfed completely because he needs to not have that advantage. But that's true with every superhero movie. At some point, they have to nerf something, otherwise there's no threat.
Or they have to overpower something.
They don't have to nerf anything. Spider-Man, that was a part of him. I mean, when he got bit by the spider, it was purely instinctual. It's not like a thing he needed to learn. But
he had to learn
like,
what it felt like and what it meant in relation to reality. Like, if he feels a tingle, of course you have to learn what that tingle means, which means you have to either dodge the 2x4 or get hit by the 2x4 in order to learn that tingle is related to that 2x4 coming at you. Otherwise, it means nothing.
Well, he's a teenager.
Doesn't mean anything without context.
One thing.
That something is coming at you very fast that can hurt you? Is that what the tingle means?
Sure, we can go with that.
Sure.
I wouldn't. I mean, it was a nice running gag, though. I think it's high time that he starts calling it what it is. I think that the calling it the tingle was funny in this movie.
Yeah,
and
when
in
he's
No
still
Way Home.
16. Yeah.
Yeah, but starting with he even says it in Brand New Day, but I think it's time for him to start calling it Spidey sense or nothing at all. But
just his agility, his reaction time is just enhanced. Why it's enhanced, it doesn't matter, but it is. That's all that really matters.
Yeah.
So jumping here toward the end of the final battle in London, I thought it was pretty cool. One of the questions I had was, do you think Mysterio's actually dead? Mysterio will return in Avengers Doomsday?
I'm going to go. I mean, obviously, I have no relation to anyone in the movies. I have no idea what they're doing, but I would say that he was dead. We saw a body. He does appear to be dead. And based on audience reaction, if they were going to bring back anyone, I don't think it would be him. Not that people hated him, but Mysterio is not going to go down as in the annals of history as like one of the great Spider-Man villains from the movies. I think they would sooner bring back Michael Keaton if they were going to bring back anyone.
The Vulture.
Yeah. And
I think they would sooner go to him, or they would go to Willem Dafoe and bring back Green Goblin.
Well, they did.
I don't know what they would do. I have no idea what their plans are. But of all of the villains that he's fought, I'm guessing that Quentin Beck is like on the bottom of the list of people for them to bring back. But that's just me.
I was going to say Gyllenhaal's price tag's too high for one. In universe though, he did show and demonstrate that he was capable of holographically faking being shot, which means he could holographically fake being anything. So could we?
But at the same time, that would defeat
Can we trust
the
our
purpose
eyes?
of,
Maybe
of
not.
like showing that Peter has the sense now. Like that he's developed the sense. I mean, that was the whole thing of how he knew where to shoot at that point.
Yeah. Plus, at that point, Peter said, shuts down all of the drones, which means there were no drones that could holographically show Quentin Beck's dead body.
Oh, good point. Okay.
But I thought the final battle though was
Zed's dead.
It was pretty cool.
I thought it was very well done.
I thought it was good. It was watching him swing around with the drones. I mean, it was fun. I just hated watching how long it took for him to get up there. I just felt like he struggled a little bit longer than he should have. And the fact that he built a new suit and then ran out of webs, like it was like, really? You could have you didn't pack enough. So, but then we wouldn't have that scene where he learned how to use his spider sense correctly. But so it was good. It was fun watching him swing around. Sometimes got annoying when it cut to MJ and Happy running around from that one drone. And I was like, okay. But other than that, it was just very entertaining. Really great CGI. Just watching a guy in a red and black spandex suit swinging around that they made on a computer. So that was fun.
Better CGI
I enjoyed the
than Black
various
Panther.
ways that he took down batches of drones. So I thought that was well done.
It did show a lot of
creative.
ideas for him on how to use his webs, which I think play into if you think about it, people always compared like how Tony learned new things from each movie of things that he went through, like how his suit can heat him up and how he can survive in space, like all the things that he struggled with. And I think you notice that with Peter, as you get to the new movie for Brand New Day, you notice how much better Peter is at utilizing his webbing and what skills he has now. So I like that they kind of showed that growth, because there is some similarities in this one. There was one thing in particular that I won't spoil for the new movie that he does in Far From Home that he did in Brand New Day, that I was like, oh, that was, that kind of tied in to show how he learned how to do something like that. So I just, I don't know. That was something that I noticed, a small little detail.
I like how he posed with the London Bridge sign as a shield. That shot is just like somebody in the London cast or somebody in the London production pipeline must have really pushed for that shot, because everybody in Britain must have went, that's our Spidey. So
right. So the mid-credit scene I want to talk about. So you got Mysterio's revenge, which is Peter Parker. And I remember the first time I saw this, I was like, what are they doing? Like, where is this going to even go? And then Jonah Jameson, J.K. Simmons back, like crossover universe massively there. I thought that was pretty surprising. Both of those things, honestly, because I'm like,
in both a good and a bad way.
Yeah. I mean, like, what are they going to do with the next movie? Like, what was the point of outing Peter Parker? I mean,
that I was okay with, because I was really excited to see how they were going to fix that. That was a great cliffhanger for me. But I don't know how I feel about J.K. Simmons. I mean, he is a perfect embodiment of J. Jonah Jameson. However, I've seen people on Facebook and stuff that say, and it's true. They showed a picture of Tobey Maguire and they said Universe 1, then Andrew Garfield, Universe 2. Tom Holland, Universe 3. Then they show Kirsten Dunst, MJ, Universe 1, and so on and so on. And then they have J.K. Simmons, J.K. Simmons, J.K. Simmons for all three, and so they're like, why is it that everyone else is a different person in different universes, but they all look like J.K. Simmons?
So damn good at the character, period.
Yeah, I agree. But at the same time,
he's the anchor being. He's the
anchor
Maybe
being.
he's going to be the big doomsday villain.
As much as I like J.K. Simmons, I think, is really, really good at playing J. Jonah Jameson. But I will never subscribe to the idea that several people have said, not just for him, but for other characters, that no one else can play him when someone stops playing the role. People were saying Hugh Jackman is the only person who can ever play Wolverine. I guarantee you.
We got yet to find another one, which is kind of the point.
Yeah, but we got 8 billion people on the planet. I'm sure someone's going to come along sooner or later that looks even more like Wolverine. No one's irreplaceable. J.K. Simmons is an excellent Jonah Jameson, but I'm sure that they can find someone else.
I would love to see J.K. Simmons. I would love to see J.K. Simmons, J. Jonah Jameson at the TVA, like in the scene in Deadpool and Wolverine where he's explaining that they're going to use the Time Ripper to destroy the universe. And then I could see him going, you serious?
Yeah. I want to see
totally
J. Jonah Jameson as the new director of the TVA, taking over from the other guy. That would be awesome.
That would be,
and just have him going,
funny.
Okay, we're going to prune Spider-Man in every universe, in every timeline.
Well, and see, so just to bring it up, so like J.K. Simmons, they also had him at the end of, what was it, the second Venom movie? Or was it the first Venom? Yeah.
No, it was the second because it was when he goes back into the new universe, into our...
Well, yeah, that's when he travels into the universe.
Yeah, they set him up, and it's the same show that we see here, and it's like, oh my gosh, are they going to do it? And it was just total... I don't even want to say it was fan service. It was more like a big just fan letdown because they weren't even planning on doing it. It was just more like, ha, 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 let's get everybody excited, and then just
we trolled you.
Themselves.
But that's how they
did
the symbiote into the...
That's how they're bringing the symbiote into the MCU, but they didn't do that in Brand New Day. So, spoiler alert. So
how
now
you
close your ears.
You can't say spoiler alert after the spoiler.
I didn't think
So the second post-credit scene where Nick Fury and Maria Hill turn out to be Skrulls, Talos and Soren. So I thought that was interesting. Because I know they were setting up for Secret Invasion at that point, but I expected more out of that, but that's another podcast.
I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was great.
It started good, but
it's not one of my favorites, but it's pretty good.
Hey, we can all hate watch it.
I liked it a lot. I enjoyed it. It was not the best one, but I enjoyed it a lot.
But it was cool that they're setting up S.W.O.R.D and the little teases of S.W.O.R.D that we had with that, and even in WandaVision leading up to the Marvels, that was cool to see all of that.
Well, like what happened to S.W.O.R.D? It was like a thing, and then it was gone.
Well, it was in the Marvels. Yeah, so
I know, but then it was gone.
Yeah, but same thing in the
anything.
We only had a movie
there, and then it was gone.
We haven't had a follow-up since then. We need to see more of the Marvels. I loved that movie. I was expecting it to be good, but I didn't expect it to be that good. I loved that movie.
See, I expected it to be ass, and it was actually pretty good.
That is an episode we have to have, is because I have the exact opposite opinion about that movie. So,
really?
Head to head, baby.
I loved the Marvels.
I haven't seen it yet,
good.
so that would be a fresh reaction from me.
You can be the tiebreaker.
But that's not next. We got quite a few movies to get to before that.
No, there's too much, yeah.
Final rankings, everything else. Spider-Man Far From Home. Michael, why don't you start us off?
It's a solid 6.5 out of 10. I mean, it doesn't bring anything ooh and ah, and it's an in-between movie, which sucks because I felt like Marvel was
flyover movie.
Yeah, it's nice when the sequel can either match the first one or be better, and then the third one just sucks. But it's definitely just it was just in there to just, I don't know, just to be there to set up for the third one. So it didn't give us anything else. And what's hard is now that's one of those Marvel movies where when you watch it, you have to understand what's happening by watching what happened before. You can't just throw it on, turn off your brain, and just watch a superhero movie and enjoy it. It's not like you have to dissect down what they're trying to lead into. It's more like, what were they coming out of? I don't know. So it's the weakest of the 4 movies. I would say it's probably my least favorite out of all Spider-Man movies that we've had, even with Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield's, and even the 2 Into the Spider-Verse movies. It's probably the weakest one for me.
Really, even less than Spider-Man 3 with Topher Grace.
I think Spider-Man 3 is like Iron Man 2, where it's like, it's okay, but it's nostalgic because of how old it is. Like it's just like, well, that's all we had. It's just like, okay. And so now when you watch it, you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, what a throwback.
Well,
like that's what
but we did agree that this one, that Far From Home, was better than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Oh yes, of course.
Better than that, yeah. But it's definitely like bottom 3 of the MCU movies for me.
I'm still surprised about that. You like it less than Spider-Man 3. I mean, given maybe it would have been better if Tom Holland had a dancing scene.
No, Tom Holland needed Topher Grace in it. I think he would have saved the film.
Exactly. Exactly.
No,
Darren,
but also the dancing scene would have made it.
Darren, what was your take on it?
Kind of similar. I it's definitely not the best of the Spider-Man movies. Definitely the lower portion of the MCU movies in general for me. I did really enjoy though the elemental effects. I really liked the elemental creatures as they were presented. They were very menacing and very just a lot of particle effects in those. I really like the CGI on those. But CGI does not a movie save. So that being said,
yes, indeed.
I think it's high school-esque romp through the high school emotions and spectrum of emotions and stuff for kids. Was roughly nostalgic at best, but again, not enough to save the movie. So you can't pin all your hopes on that, and a lot of the comedy was a little flat. So yeah, I would put it roughly in the same area of the tally, the totem pole of MCU movies as Michael did.
Yeah.
It's, near the bottom, and definitely near the bottom of the Spider-Man movies. And I would agree, all Spider-Man movies, it doesn't really crack the top half for me on those. So yeah.
Heather?
Yeah, it was a fun one. I think it was a little underwhelming as an epilogue or a follow-up to Endgame. The pendulum swung too much from, super serious and somber to, a little more slapstick comedy-ish. That said, it was fun for what it was. I think in the whole, in the whole set of Marvel, it was kind of weak, and yeah, it's the least of the Spider-Man movies. But, cute, fun, it's, nice Saturday afternoon kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, I think that it can't be understated what you just said, which is that this is the post-Endgame, right? This is like our first foray back after everybody's been back, and they named it the Blip, the 5-year gap. And I know they wanted to just get into the Spider-Man story, but still, I think that was an area that at least needed to be touched on a little bit more, because right at the beginning, I can't remember ever them hearing about it after that. I feel like it would be a long, long time that people would be talking about what happened. And it's like they went back to normal. I'm talking about years and years that people would, of people having to recover.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, kind of throughout this, is I just felt like it was, I keep using the word disjointed, but it's like, I don't know, things didn't flow. It was really just the flow. You'd go like high school, Euro trip, then suddenly it was like Marvel movie, superhero action. Then it was kind of like, and then without a doubt, like the segues weren't that, I don't think were that great. And I'm kind of in agreement with Michael, which is like, kind of middle of the pack, and Heather, that it was 6 out of 10.
I agree with what everyone's saying for the most part. I enjoy this movie a lot, but it is my least favorite of the 4 Tom Holland Spider-Man movies.
You are adorable.
And also, what?
This is the way you always you say that every time. It doesn't matter what it is. But you could be like, I enjoyed Land Before Time 13. It wasn't my favorite, but it is enjoyable.
But it's like, I can't think of a better way to say it.
Here.
Like, because I don't want to say I didn't like it, because that's not true. I did like it, but this movie is flawed. I agree with everyone. Like, I don't like that it didn't seem serious enough after the events of Endgame. It wasn't big enough. I think that Michael said it, and I agree. Maybe Spider-Man was probably not the right choice for the movie that followed up Endgame. They maybe should have turned to someone else. And this movie
or
might
another
have
little
done better
team up.
later on.
At least a couple of people, kind of a not a Civil War thing, but at least put a couple people in there, like a Winter Soldier-esque type of thing, where you got, like in that one, you got Black Widow, you got Captain America, you got some other people. Falcon suddenly comes in, something like that, maybe. Yeah.
You don't have to have everyone, but still, that event was so huge to just, this is the epilogue sound. It fell flat. And I agree also with what you said. It was kind of disjointed. It doesn't seem to know whether it wants to take itself seriously or it doesn't, or it wants to be a high school comedy. So I agree with all of those things. But overall, I still enjoyed it. But I never really thought to compare it to the other Spider-Man movies, the ones with the other actors. I liked it more than Spider-Man 3. And I don't hate Spider-Man 3 either, but like Venom is a huge disappointment. Sandman has never been a character that I thought was that great a villain. So, we're not here to talk about that, but, I think that maybe thinking about it, this might be my second least favorite of all of the Spider-Man movies in full. We've said everything that we can say about Spider-Man Far From Home. So I want to thank Darren and Heather and Michael and Bob and also Matthew, who's not here today. I want to thank all of you for joining us on this Marvel Cinematic Universe journey. We are going to be back next week. If you haven't already, please hit like and subscribe. We could really use it. And as always, make tomorrow better than yesterday.